Hello everyone, Mr. Crone here to do a quick lesson on repetition structures in Java. There are three main repetition structures that I'm going to cover, and they are the while loop, the for loop, and the for each loop or enhanced for loop. Now we are going to start with the while loop, and in order to create a while loop, the first thing that we have to do is have some type of variable that's going to act as our counter. I'm just going to make an int I is equal to 0. And now I'm going to start my while loop. The syntax for that is just literally the word while. Inside of here you'll have to have some condition. I'll say while I is less than 5. Now you can have brackets. Brackets are up to you if you use brackets. If it's only one line, then you technically don't need brackets. But here we go. Now that I'm inside of here, I'll just put a system out print line, and then I'm going to update my counter. Once I have this done, my while loop is complete. I have my initializing statement for my counter, I have my condition, my body statements, and then finally my update for my counter. I can go ahead and run this, and it's just going to print inside the loop 5 times because I have I running from 0 to 5. Now, be very careful with while loops. If I will get rid of this line, we would be stuck in an infinite loop, and it would basically print inside the loop forever and ever. Eclipse is very nice, and we can see that it's still running, and I can just terminate it with the little red square right here. And I'll put that back in, so we terminate after 5, and there we are, we're good to go again. The next one that we'll cover is the for loop. The for loop is incredibly similar to the while loop. The only difference is that all of the pieces are in different places. First we'll start with the word for in parentheses, and then in here we're going to initialize our variable and create our variable if you would like. You can also create the variable outside of the for statement, but I'll just create an integer k is equal to 0. Then I'm going to have my condition, so k is less than 5. We'll set it up just like the while loop. And here I'm going to place my update statement. Now again, you can have braces if you want. You don't have to if it's only one line. If it's multi-line, however, you need the brackets. Inside of here you can place your body statement. Here's a body statement, just says inside the for loop. And now we can go ahead and run, and this should just print inside the for loop 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're good to go. Now the key things to know about the for loop is that it enters here, creates and initializes the variable, make sure that the condition is good to go, and then it's going to execute this before updating. The updating is actually the last thing to occur in the for loop. And then it will update, check the condition, and then if the condition is still true, it will continue on and on. And the last one that we're going to do is the enhanced for loop or the for each loop. For this one I am going to need an array, so I just created an integer array array here with the integers 1 through 5, and now we can start creating our loop. It's going to start just the same way as a normal for loop with the word for and then parentheses, and then in here we're going to expect 2 values separated by a colon. Now the values depend upon what you're looping through. To use a for each loop you need to be looping through a collection or an array. So here we're just looping through an array of integers, so the first portion is just going to be integer k. This is much like your counter from the regular for loop. So I'm going to say for each integer k, and then in place of the colon you can just use the word in. For each integer k in array, there I'm specifying the collection or the array. Then I'm going to tell it what to do. So for each integer k in array, I want you to system out print, and I just want to print out k. So all it should do is print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a separate line. And there we have it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's important to note that k takes on the value of each element in the array. Each iteration k changes and assumes the value of the next element until you're eventually out of elements, and then it automatically stops. There's no need for a condition in the for each loop. It will just automatically stop at the end of the list or at the end of the array. But that's it for repetition structures. As always, place any comments or questions below. Thanks for watching.